Okay, so we have a couple last things to talk about in regards to nomenclature. I want to talk about the old naming system and then hydrogen attached to a polyatomic ion. So when we've got the old naming system, there are a few times when you've got transition metals which have varying charges, and instead of using the Roman numerals, they changed the endings to something slightly different. So I just want you to be familiar with it. So here, if you have the copper +1 ion, this is the normal way that we would write it, correct? But what they've done in the old naming system is they created cuprous. Okay, if you've got the copper 2 ion, it's actually cupric. And then if you have the iron 2 ion, it's actually ferrous. The iron 3 ion would be ferric. And then the tin 2 ion would be stannous. Okay? We're not going to see that often. In fact, I don't even teach it anymore. I just want you to be familiar with it in case you see something on an online website, or there's some resource, or you happen to have one random question where they give you the old naming system. I want you to at least have, a slight familiarity with it. Okay. Now, what if we have hydrogen that's attached to a polyatomic ion? So when you have hydrogen attached to a polyatomic ion and you're grouping it with something else, like maybe a metal, then when you're naming this, you have a couple of different options. So let me show you how to write the formulas for it and how to name it. If you have the hydrogen phosphate ion, that means you have a hydrogen ion, which is H+1, and then the phosphate ion is PO4 -3. So what you want to do is you want to take the charges in the +1 and the -3, and you want to add those charges together, okay? So a +1 and a -3 give you HPO4 -2, okay? So this would be known as the hydrogen phosphate ion or the biphosphate ion, okay? Either name is perfectly acceptable, okay? You may also see them add one more hydrogen to it. Doesn't happen that often, but we have seen it a couple of times. So if they decide to add another hydrogen ion to the biphosphate ion, again, you will take the numbers and the charges and you will add them together, and that will give you H2PO4 -1. Now, if you want to name this, I would name it dihydrogen phosphate. Okay? All right, let's do one more example. Let's take a look at the hydrogen sulfite ion. This would be a hydrogen ion attached to the sulfite ion, which is SO3 -2. And you want to take the numbers and the charges, and you want to add them together. And that will give you HSO3 -1. You can have this be the hydrogen sulfite ion as its name, or you can call it the bisulfite ion, okay? And if you were putting this ion in a compound, let's say I was going to write the chemical formula for the sodium bisulfite compound, then what you would do is you would take sodium, which is Na, with a +1 charge, and then this is your bisulfite. The numbers and the charges will cancel. You'll get NaHSO3.